Well, this is Cabin Conversations, a regular podcast here at Woodlands Church. I'm Dave Bonison here with co-host Whitney Swinson. Hi, Whitney.
Hi, Dave.
This is episode 4 of season 5.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I think we're already there.
You're
So
counting.
I'm making stuff up as we go. And here with special guest, our holy guest. Remember when we called our guests our holy guests? 'Cause
Yeah.
Why was that?
Well, the way you put your headphones on earlier makes you very special.
Thank you.
David, you are
it's
so
David
loved.
Hansen.
Thank you.
Our boss, we should say. So,
Yeah, very intimidating.
yeah, we live in fear. So it's the culture you've created, Dave.
Yeah.
I just called you Dave too.
That's
I don't know that I've
perfect.
ever done that. So
That's what
You're gonna confuse
people are
a
going
lot
to
of
call
people.
me come May.
come your
Okay.
retirement. So when you
I'll
are
go
Is that
back
what
to
you
Dave.
desire to be called as Dave, and that you just had to take on David because of this guy?
No,
distinguished there.
Okay.
I'm okay either way.
Okay.
So
My mom called me David
okay.
Oh, that's sweet.
most of the time.
I mean, my parents did too, and that's how I was raised with the David. And I think she's switched over to Dave now at
You
this
have
point.
a pretty
So
distinct when you switched to Dave, right?
when I went to college,
Yeah.
I kind of declared that, and
Yeah.
it was everywhere. And so anyone who knows me from prior to working here will still almost exclusively refer to me as David. So
Interesting.
Louise Lang, Brian Berg never has called me anything other than David.
Yeah.
But people who know me since after that, it's Dave.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. I appreciate being called David by those folks that knew me from
Absolutely.
back then. So
Were you known as Dave anywhere?
Yeah, I would say probably high school years.
Okay.
And I would say before AECOM probably too. It seems like
Okay.
I was more David there, but
Mm-hmm.
probably as you start taking on more authority and, that sort of
it's
thing.
kind of what your message said that.
Yeah, that was, it was a little bit of
I have
that.
to. I have to totally agree with that.
Yeah.
It's been helpful to distinguish between the two of us.
Yep.
You know,
Has been.
when I'm like, oh no,
Yep.
you're looking for David, not
Yep.
not Dave.
Mhm.
So
I agree.
So we'll see what happens after when you do retire. And
Next spring.
I am the only David on staff.
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
So
Do you want to switch back?
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Really confusing people for a while there.
just keep everyone on their toes. So we'll see.
Okay.
You have a question for
I have
David?
a question from the sermon resources. David, what is something that someone has said to you that has been a simple yet profound piece of wisdom that you've returned to over and over again?
Mm.
Isn't that a good one?
You know, I'm
Sometimes we
probably
do
I'm-
well with it.
I'm probably going to reach a little bit because I
That's
don't
fine.
know that it was necessarily said to me,
Okay.
but I know that I said it to our kids.
Oh,
And
So David's
and
like, I know
We're
a
passing
profound
it on.
piece of wisdom.
we're getting the wisdom right
Lori
now.
reminded me of this morning, not
Mhm.
knowing I would share it here.
Yeah,
But I also think it's appropriate for both of you.
I'm excited to hear this.
So in our home,
Mm-hmm.
parking lots are not your friend. And that was as our kids got closer and closer to driving.
Oh,
Parking lots are not your friend.
Yeah.
And I am a firm believer in that. If you want to get a dinged door,
oh, sure.
you
Okay.
don't drive down the road and get a dinged door,
No.
but go into a parking lot.
Okay. Also,
Yeah.
as a young child, running through a parking lot's probably not wise either.
I
There's
got
all
yelled at
kinds
so
of
much for
reasons.
that. My
Totally
parents would tell me
true,
it's
but
so
this was-
dangerous.
This was much more focused on as they got
Dinged
close
door.
to driving.
Okay.
So I thought it would be appropriate for both of you with Sophie coming,
Yeah.
but you're
Eden,
Cast of
Eden is
thousands,
2
yes.
years
Yep.
from driving. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, she'll get her temps in less than a year. In less than a year.
Mhm.
Less than a year. Oh, man. Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
I'm helpful once in a while.
That's great. Parking lots are still scary to drive in.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not a fan at all.
Yeah.
And they're private property, which adds to the interesting if there is an accident. So there can be
Really?
complicated. They are private property. The parking lot is. So the roads connecting them are not necessarily, but it's private property.
So does that mean the
Wow.
business has to carry liability insurance?
I
to
have no
potentially-
idea. Not,
Okay.
not my problem, but
Yeah. We're all in ministry here. This is.
We don't
But
know these things.
I'm sure we have some folks who do insurance listening to
Sure.
our vast listenership, viewership. Podcasts at woodlandschurch.org. Please let us know.
Have you ever been in a fender bender in a parking lot?
no, but there's people I know real
That
well who have.
Okay. Have you?
No, I don't think so. No, but I'm super cautious in parking lots too.
You?
Yeah. I don't like them.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't like parking in general.
Sure.
I don't know what that is.
Sure.
So
in college, I came out to a crunched up car, but I was parked in like the professor's parking lot because I worked at the College of Letters and Science. So I got special parking. And that was like, here's my insurance. I'll take care of it. And I was like, great. Not a bad thing. I got a new windshield and I already had a crack in it. So it's like,
it worked out.
So
Whitney, have you had a piece of advice that has really just stuck with you, or?
A whole bunch of them, but nothing's coming to like top of mind right now.
Yeah.
I think I've heard this from you. Pay attention to your tears. I think
absolutely.
There's one that, if there's something I need to grow in, it's connecting my head to my heart.
Yeah.
And I have been working on that for a long time, but it's really easy for me to stay in my head and cry through something and not even connect it to like what's actually happening or the emotion that's behind it. So.
Lori's helped me with that.
Yeah.
And I just have found it to be really, really helpful, especially in ministry, where we're navigating situations that just to help people to think a little bit, what's going on in you right now?
How about you, Dave?
I don't know why this comes to mind, but just thinking about that, you mentioned Lori, and Lori's teaching Faithful Habits right now. And I think one of the realizations I had when I was prepping that curriculum and talking about prayer is that prayer, this is not related to anything, this is just a thought, prayer so powerfully frees us to feel the weight of the brokenness of this world. And I've just recognized in my heart as I was processing how often I've guarded my heart from feeling the brokenness because it's like, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I can't. I can pray about it. And so I should rightfully feel like when you look at humanitarian crises across the world, there's so many times that I've been like, I don't want to dwell on that because it's there and it's not here. And what am I going to do there? Well, I can pray and I can pray more appropriately when I'm feeling more appropriate. Like, so I think a right-sized picture of prayer allows us to feel things more in line with God's heart because then we can then bring them to God's heart. So
tenderizes us.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I saw in myself not a jadedness, but a withdrawnness from brokenness. And that's even interpersonal from people, an unwillingness to go there because I was scared. And the more I reflect on the heart of my Father, the more I feel free to do that. Yeah. So tenderizes, it's a great word. So the thing that comes to mind for my advice was some premarital advice our pastor gave us when we got married, and we got married with kids. Layla was already in the picture. And it was never make your relationship about the kids because the kids will leave the home at some point and you'll be left with each other. And so make sure you're always guarding your relationship to be about each other. And I think that's really just resonated through my head over our 15 years of marriage and continues to, especially as our kids get older and older. We're like 4 years from now, Eden will be out of the house. And then it's just a downward spiral of kids leaving. And it's just wild.
And I think, Dave, from this vantage point, our kids are well past leaving the home. It's also, I would argue, for Lori and I, on the top of the list of best gifts we can give our kids is that we're healthy as a couple.
Yeah.
That to me is, we don't necessarily think of it that way, but I would strongly say that it helps our kids tremendously that they don't have to be concerned about mom and dad in that way.
That's a profound word. Yeah. Investing in each other in the marriage is a blessing to your kids. It's a blessing to yourself. It's a blessing to your spouse. It's a blessing to those around you. But yeah, it's a way to care for your kids too.
I had a friend recently share she just sent her kid, her first of 3, to college. And she was reflecting on having one of the pastors from her church come to the hospital to see this beautiful brand new baby that turned their family into from 2 to 3. And she said he held her and said, now you just get to prepare to launch her. Like the rest of your life is preparing to launch her. So to keep that in mind of it's not, your relationship didn't all of a sudden start centering around this beautiful gift that you have. It's a gift that you're stewarding.
Amen.
For a season. To launch. that the goal is not that they would stay in the house forever, even though I'm still trying to convince Sophie that she might want to. She really doesn't, and we don't want her either. It's time. Not time yet, but it'll be time. It'll be time at some point, and we'll welcome you home.
Amen.
And we'll welcome you into other places too.
So this Sunday was Justin got to preach, and as we all like to acknowledge, Justin, I refer to him as a change up. He's just a very different speed, style, everything. John and I are different preachers, but we're also similar kind of in the same way,
right?
In some ways. But Justin, it's always a blessing, and I love his storytelling abilities, and we've gotten a lot of that during this sermon series as well. He continues to work with Aaron and writing those stories as well. But John 8, really profound passage.
Yes.
Interesting. David, is there something that stood out to you or struck you in particular, or even as you've been able to process it over the past few days?
I could probably answer it in a bunch of different ways. Depends on what day in the last week you would have asked me this question. I think maybe for me, at the top of the list is that I'm always really impacted by how Jesus speaks to the Pharisees. And typically in most of the stories that Jesus will tell, I can relate to the Pharisee in some way because I'm one of those people who grew up in the church, and head knowledge can be how much is it really transferred to my heart?
Yeah.
That tension. And I felt like this story, he maybe takes that on at a level that just takes this challenge of the Pharisees to a whole nother, because I have a feeling they were humiliated when they walked away.
Yeah.
Not only will he sometimes leave them thinking about, ooh, ouch, this one, in walking away, because he says all the people were there is early on in that passage. So that just continues to, I know tonight I'll be asking our life group, who can you relate to more, the women or the Pharisees? And I think in most cases, a lot of us would answer the Pharisees. But when you read the story, you don't necessarily think that's where it's going to end up.
Right.
I appreciated Justin. Justin did a really good job, I think, contextualizing the Pharisees too. And he's said this to me a couple times before, and I've just appreciated that mindset that their heart is to guard the nation of Israel and to bring about the promises of God and to preserve the people. And they've been raised in stories like Achan's sin and things like that. And of course they're going to be fastidious about following the law.
Yeah.
It's their understanding is it's the following of the law that's keeping them enslaved. And how fundamentally wrong they were about God's intention and heart, and how much of a caution that should be for us.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that we have such a blessing in the whole of Scripture that helps us rightfully and hopefully more accurately discern the direction of God's heart, but it should be such a cautionary tale that we can be fundamentally wrong as well.
Well, Justin had a line that was something along the lines that their intense passion, that intensity to guard what they were guarding, his line, something along these lines, was passion leads to where we can justify the means based on what the ends it has in mind. And so just to watch where your passion is leading you to say, the ends of this justify the means that I'm getting to the point where I'm getting to this, and specifically looking at the Pharisees in this scenario. And I love too the fact that he's like, when you make caricatures of people and you reduce them to one dimension and you don't see really what's happening, it's really easy to all of a sudden have a us versus them mentality, and not to actually say, oh, I can relate to this character in this story that in certain ways.
Well, and not to go anywhere crazy, but that's how many of us, all of us, deal with conflict by reducing the opposition and oversimplifying.
Yeah.
Right.
We've done that with Pharisees throughout the text. And I think that that's something Justin's pushing into. It's like, allow these to be three-dimensional characters and real people who have real intentions, and they're not just evil. And I think that in the cultural moment that we're in, the cultural moments we've been in over the last 5 years, we see that happening so often, where it is an us and them mentality, and we reduce them into something that we can vilify instead of having conversations and really understanding intentions. Yeah.
Even for him to bring in so you see the speck in your brother's eye, remove the log of your own, just this examine your heart. And even that's just what Jesus pushes into. Which one of you is without sin? Throw the first stone. Examine yourself before you're going to start chucking stones at people.
Well, and as a kid who grew up in a legalistic church, it was very much that's the culture that I grew up in. When we reduce Christianity, when I reduce my relationship with Jesus down to rules, pretty soon I'm defining which are the right rules for the game. And in the United States of America in 2025, pride is, I just don't know how we can walk away from any situation and not say, my goodness, a battle for every one of us is pride. And it is sin. And this picture, again, is another one of those of, I know what's right. You did not do what's right. And I would just say so many of the cultural battles of the day is I'm the one with the truth. You're wrong. And that's not who Jesus is.
So I have a question, David. As you said that like you grew up in a legalistic church, when did you identify that legalism? How did that happen? Because I'm sure at some point in your church, you were like, this is what church is.
Willow Creek is a place that's where Lori was saved. But it was a church that obviously has been through it, but it changed the trajectory of my faith. No question about it. I was a believer, but Willow really challenged me to see Jesus in a very, very different way. And that happened in my early to mid-20s, which is a very foundational, we know that in young adult ministry. And in so many ways, I ended up someone who fell in love with Jesus in a whole different way. Not in one moment, but over the course of learning more and more about who he really is. I would say that was a process of changing my heart, and I've battled really my whole adult life with Jesus loves me not because of me following all the rules.
So it was getting out of that church context and into what was a healthier church context that was truly preaching the gospel.
Absolutely.
That allowed you to look back and say, oh wow, okay. I've been formed in an environment that hasn't been leading me towards Christ.
And I would say the church I grew up in, I loved that church. Pastor Tornell was my pastor as a kid. And it's not fair to say that he did not preach the gospel.
Sure.
But the culture, the rules of the game, I think, were just very much. It was one of those that it was really about. No, you can't do that. That's not. And as soon as you do that, you are not following Jesus. And Willow did a good job, at least for me, of helping me. No, it's about my relationship with him.
Yeah. I even starting his message, Justin talked about the dichotomy or the contradiction or the tension that I think we see in like Jesus being viewed or called the friend of sinners, and then the Pharisees saying the Pharisees are fulfilling the law, and Jesus actually did both. There's a beautiful long explanation at the end of one of Tim Keller's books, and I don't remember. It's a book on apologetics, but talks about how the beauty of Jesus's character is that he can hold these tensions fully in himself.
Yes.
He can be the friend of sinners and uphold the law and be fully righteous and holy. And it's beautiful because we don't see it really anywhere else. You look around and none of us can hold that beauty in our brokenness in the state of what we're living in right now. But to look forward to that is something, his mercy and compassion, is that at odds with justice and righteousness? And does it have to be at odds with justice and righteousness? And I think even like looking at this story and thinking about a takeaway, Jesus diffused an incredibly tense situation.
Yeah.
As perfectly as could be.
As could be. And so then what do I take away? I need to diffuse situations. But no, how do I embody, how do I see people not as one-dimensional people, so I'm able to bring mercy and compassion while also upholding righteousness and justice? That is the work of a lifetime of following Jesus and studying who he is and letting the Spirit live out in you. And even you were praying at the beginning of this, let us be slow enough to see people and have there's a pace that a fast pace does not allow me to figure out how to combine those things. And I think even the thing that struck me in this passage initially was watching the movements of so Jesus, even if you just follow how Jesus moves through this story, he comes into the temple and he sits down to teach.
Right.
And then Pharisees bring people in. He stands. They ask him a question. He bends down. They push him. He stands to talk to them, bends back down. And then everybody leaves, and now he's left in this vulnerable situation with a woman that was caught in adultery. It's just the two of them at the end of the story, and he stands again and talks to her. Just the way he diffused by his body movement and by being unwilling to be a pawn in this game, even using his body movements to distract from what I imagine this very vulnerable human being in the midst of them. He distracts by bending low. It's just fascinating to study. I love
that picture you just painted, because the word that was coming for me when I think about how he behaved is used gentle, and even that he wasn't powering up on her. He was gentle, and again, our culture, we do not elevate being meek. We do not elevate, especially men, being gentle, being kind. And one of the things I know, my heart for people who walk into Woodlands Church is that they would not feel condemned. That when we talk to people in the foyer, as they get to know whoever it might be, we all come in here far from perfect. And that if we can be a church where that person, whatever their situation is one that, because they're fighting walking in the door thinking the church is going to condemn me. That's our reputation, not necessarily Woodlands, but the church. And I just think that, boy, it's a beautiful thing that when that's not how we behave.
I think so much of Jesus's response in this is non-anxious too. That's I just imagine being in this, I'm trying to teach, and then suddenly a bunch of antagonistic, angry people burst in.
Demanding you to kill somebody.
Yeah. But
somebody's life is on the line.
Even outside of that, no, zero context there, but putting me to the test, clearly putting me to the test, without good intentions.
Yeah.
This is a very high, my anxiety is going to spike.
Right.
And then what am I doing? I'm trying to give quick answers. I'm trying to give precise things. And Jesus is so slow. His anxiety does not react at all. And I
guess we don't know that. But what we do know is how he acted allowed him to slow the pace down enough to me. I mean, he's also the God man, so he might not have anxiety. But yeah.
Or maybe he's, because anxiety, acute anxiety, is a physiological response. It's a danger response. It's a good thing that we can, do. And so he might have I'm reading into the text then. If some of these responses were to actually
You're putting yourself in the place of what would happen. But I do think that there's like, what we see him do is slow the pace down.
Yeah.
Right.
And if that is in response to his own anxiety, or if it's because he's not anxious, actually, he slows the pace down for everybody in the room.
Yep.
The woman that's about to, like, she's facing death.
Verse 6, or verse 5, like, so what do you say? Like, they ask him that.
Yeah.
And that's not the only thing they ask, because then verse 7, and they continued to ask him.
Yeah.
And as they continue to ask him, so they're just peppering him.
They're peppering him, and he's drawn in the sand.
Yep, he's not responding. And he stands up and says to them that I mean, Justin obviously did a phenomenal job with Deuteronomy, and the whole, like, okay, woman's on trial, no, Jesus is on trial, no, the Pharisees are on trial, and just kind of that sort of piece. I think there's a phenomenal question here when Jesus, where are they? Has no one condemned you? No one, Lord. And Justin made the point, because they didn't. No one had the right to. No one could be the dual witnesses. There weren't two witnesses in there. Neither could Jesus be that in his humanness. His divine ability to judge, given by God the Father, certainly has that. But it's interesting to process the neither do I condemn you then too, because according to Deuteronomy, Jesus as the God-man doesn't have the Deuteronomical right to condemn her either. He wasn't an eyewitness to this. In his divine nature, he does. That's an interesting, I don't know what that does, if that's worthwhile. So
I want to come back to, I do think there's a strong point Whitney is making with slow. And I'm reacting, as Dave was saying that, I'm looking back now at verse 7. So the tensions are really high, because this they said to him in verse 6, that they might have some charge to bring against him. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. And as they continued to ask him, he stood up and said to them, "Let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her." And once more he bent down. He didn't jump in front of her to protect her. He said, "Go ahead. Those of you without sin, throw the first stone." Somebody could have.
Yeah.
And he bends down, and he was diffusing this situation. And one of the things that I appreciate about Whitney, and have all through the time we've been able to work together, is that you really are intentional about, I don't want my life to be out of control. We talked about it this morning in the meeting about Tuesday night. And once again, I come back to, I'm always amazed at the Bible, that in 2025, America, how in the world could it be applicable? But one of the things that I think you and me, we'd want to run away from, is this challenge of, what about this slow piece? Because that is so countercultural. And yet, for us to enter into the reality of life for people, I have to slow down.
Yeah.
I have to give them the ability to grow to trust me, to even begin to say, this is what's really going on in my world. I want an answer. I want it now. But we need to slow down, to walk with people, to stop. And there's just, I think that your challenge to us, and just, you're not trying to challenge us, just saying there's something about him slowing down here. I agree with you, Whitney. It is a significant part of the story.
I was our residents right now are embedded in care ministry, and so they're they've been going to grief share and divorce care, and they just started healing the wounds of trauma, and I've gotten to know a lot of the care responders and different things like that. And we were able to be reflecting earlier today on just how much that is, how much care ministry is, and we, the three of us, are huge beneficiaries of having an incredible care ministry at this church, and this church is beneficiaries of that too. But to care well for people, individual people, is so much work. And we were talking about the fact that far be it from us to ever be so busy that we can't have those moments and those
Right.
spaces and those times for people. But
Right.
how often in our schedule does it feel so packed that, it's like, you better not have a personal crisis right now, because I don't got time for me to deal with that, and how antithetical to Christ that is. Think about Jairus and the woman who's bleeding and his willingness to stop in the midst of any moment for the sake of individuals, even individuals who aren't known, is so exemplative for us. It has to be an example, and it has to be more than just something we talk about. It has to be something we live. And that's true for every single person who's listening to this.
And if that is true for every single Christ follower, and when that's true, it takes the weight. Then if you say the weight of care is on the staff here, we can't carry that. That's too heavy. That's not intended for this finite number of humans to carry.
Right.
But when you think about entering a body, a church body where people are equipped and even just skilled in different ways to be able to enter into care in different ways for people. If it's everybody's about caring.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden the weight of care is, I'm going to say diffused.
Dispersed.
Dispersed. Yeah. It's
Distributed.
Yeah. There we go. Thank you. All kinds of D words. Rightfully so too.
Right.
Like there are levels of care that maybe are beyond some of our levels of what we're equipped to do. That's for certain too. But if this is not just us sitting here as ministry leaders reading this, that care is part of what we get to do, but if it's a whole body thing, if part of the body hurts, the whole body hurts with it. If there's somebody mourning, we get to mourn with. If somebody's celebrating, we get to celebrate with. And sometimes that happens 1 minute next to the other.
Yeah.
What a world we live in.
I think some of the, we've been going through this whole leadership in the church sort of thing. And biblically, there are different roles in the church. But I have found it so helpful, and I've said this in different contexts, to think through, as a leader in the church, as a guy who's a long time had the title pastor, if I visit someone in a hospital, in what role as part of the church am I doing that? Am I doing that in my staff role? Am I doing that as a pastor? And coming to the place where I was like, no, this is a congregational role. I'm doing this as a member of the church. And so take the title pastor off. I'm still going to be doing that. It's not something I'm doing because I'm a pastor. It's something I'm doing because I'm a Christ follower. And I might know that they're in the hospital because of my context in the church. But for all of us who are part of the congregation, those levels of care are things that we must be doing to love one another as Christ loved us. Like we're supposed to be more and more like Jesus. And so what does Jesus do? He cares for the individuals. And so never outsource that. That's a privilege. Sometimes it's hard to remember it's a privilege. It's hard to do.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, what an opportunity. So
Dave, you use, can you walk us through what it looks like to use the sermon resources or the series resources with your group?
So right now, I lead a discipleship life group, men's group on Monday night. And last year, we went through, I think it's 21 chapters in John. That's what we did throughout the course of the year. So when this series launched in the fall, and there were stories from the book of John, we were going to go straight into 1 John. And we said, wait a minute, I think we need to do these stories. So that group had a wonderful setup for this series because of what we did last year.
Yeah, for sure.
The group Lori and I lead together on Tuesday night, we're doing this before we start a study of the book of John.
Okay.
And again, in this case, we felt like this would be a great launch to that study that we're going to do the rest of the year. And it's fascinating because I saw this last night, people's observations, interpretations, applications are different. And part of that is our life experience, what we're navigating currently in our life. We take this text and it impacts us differently. And it's powerful to hear that. And tonight, Lori and I go into a night where we don't know what will happen. Kind of like this podcast, right? We start talking about this and it's going to go down different paths. But again, so much of that is what one's experience is. And I would say this is going off a little bit off of that question, but I think it fits. I've also observed for women that I have difficult situations that I've hopefully done a reasonable job of helping women in my role navigate in this church. I think in a lot of cases, the ability to, wait a minute, let's walk into somebody is feeling beat up right now. The more we as a group realize that that's how some people are feeling walking into this conversation. Yet in our group of 12 tonight, we don't know everybody's stories. We've been together for a year, but everybody has a story. And in some cases, there could very well be a situation that's happened. It's not exactly this one, but they felt attacked by leadership. And just being sensitive to that and then watching a group of people navigate that, I think is part of the beauty of being in community. But it really forces us to be careful of all the assumptions we take into a conversation, because you realize in the 12 people around the room, we're all seeing this a little bit different based on what our life has been. And we'll see that tonight.
The observations that end up getting made, those are very personal, really, as you're reading it, because you see yourself through this lens, and this is a personal story.
One of the questions that I love in what we're doing right now with this study guide, on the observation section, what questions do you have after observing the people, places, plot, and connections of the passage? That's where it gets real personal. That I think those questions in so many cases, yes, we can make it all about the text, but if we step a little bit back away from that, all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, I have a question that relates to my own experience. And that's when it gets really interesting with a group of people.
I would really clearly say to anyone who's listening that it's like, I'd love to be studying the passage or a little bit more. Our Sunday Bible study, there's three Sundays left in this sermon series, and then we'll roll into the marriage series, which would be great. But that's an invitation at 8:45. It's in room 105 to just come and gather with other people you might not know, but you can study the Bible alongside them. And Whitney and I, we constantly say that the refrain, like the tagline of this podcast, should be "Do life with people
together around Scripture."
We have someone in our group tonight who is as hungry as anybody that I know in this church for how his life has been transformed by Jesus. He comes to that. And he talks about, last Tuesday night, he talked about what it was amazing for him to hear 20-some people, the different perspectives, again, the different questions that people bring into it. But one of the things that I beg our church to realize, how fortunate we are that we have people who are coming to this church interested in getting to know Jesus, then early on in those stages of getting to know him, because they challenge all of us who have been hanging around Jesus for a while. Man, don't whatever you do lose sight of what it is, the gift it is to get to know Jesus in a deeply personal way.
Which is super cool.
Great word.
So
good word.
So Sunday Bible study, or sign up for DLG.
We'll have another Groups Basics here in November.
It's in November, so you can get
beginning of November
plugged in, get in a life group, but get with people. Like, it is great to come to church on Sunday morning. If you're coming to church on Sunday morning and listening to this podcast, like, that's awesome. That's great content. Worship, fantastic. But you got to get with people. Got to get with people and talk about Jesus.
Because even talking about making observations, we do look through our own lenses. And so when you get more people that have different lenses sitting around the room, the text comes alive in a different way.
Amen.
And it's I feel like you're safer from getting off the rails when you have more eyes helping you stay centered on what's in front of you, and not necessarily bringing your own experience to it, but also saying, with Dave saying, Jesus must have been anxious. I'm like, oh, it didn't say that. It actually just said that he just slowed it down.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that's in response to, but we can watch what he does. But that's what's helpful about being in a community of people centering on the word, is that you can help gently push.
Amen.
And pull.
All right, Whitney, spin the spinner. We got to
just touch it.
touch the middle there. So
Not
got to
gonna
see
be me.
who's going to be. It's not going to be you.
It is going to be me.
It's going to be
Dave,
you again?
This is 3 of 4.
Three
This
of 4.
thing is rigged.
Wow, that's incredible.
Just the way I would
How about
like it.
that? So, all right.
Rigged.
Weren't we going to upgrade this
Yeah.
this
You
orange
need
can
to
a
text
little
me
bit?
to remind me, and then I'll leave it
Okay.
unread until I come back into work.
Okay. Because it won't get buried. You won't
What's a
forget
song you can listen to on repeat without getting tired of it? Oh gosh, I am awful at, like, I listen to songs on repeat a ton.
that. So that's just what you do? You listen to songs on repeat?
Oh yeah, I have playlists that I'll start one and then just listen to it, and then I'll try to create another playlist.
But not just a song?
Oh, okay. There was a season, Build My Life, that one.
Okay.
I will build my
I
life.
have a distinct memory of sharing an office when we were in the central office, and I shared with Jamie Holhelm.
Yeah,
I
that was,
had-
oh man, that was.
I had that song on repeat, and she's like, "Great song. Can we change it?" She's like,
It's probably like
How come I
2017.
can
really
hear
like
Jamie
this.
say that?
I love this song,
Oh,
but
man. Yeah. There's hymns that I can list, like the Shane and Shane hymns. Different psalms at different times will hit. Or no, it's their Psalms album. Psalm 8. They have a song on Psalm 8 that's fantastic. Psalm 84. Man, yeah. There's a couple. I listen to them on repeat.
wow. And you're also very holy because you only listen to Christian music on repeat.
So here's the deal: is if I'm listening to something else, so like I'll create a running playlist that has like the right, try to keep me moving, going. Those songs get stuck in my head so easily that I'll wake up singing them, and I don't want to wake up singing Billy Joel.
It's-
You may be right, I may be crazy. Like that
It's
was
formation.
It's
right?
formation,
Mhm.
and so like it's a great song to run to, but then when it gets stuck in my head, I need to switch. So.
That's a good word.
You have a song that you are willing to listen to on repeat, David? Even if you.
Laurie would probably tell you he'll keep singing the same sentence of a song over and
Yeah.
over and over again. So it's dangerous for me to listen to a song on repeat. It really gets locked into my head.
Do you sing a lot
like
around
that.
the house? Do you walk around
I do.
singing? Oh,
He was the
I don't think I
senior-
would have
He was
known
the
that.
senior fellowship worship leader.
Yeah,
for a
I knew
while.
Thank
that,
you,
but that
Whitney.
doesn't. Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, I will kind of under my breath, but
Yeah.
it's actually it's audible.
Yeah.
People can hear it.
That's
so
sweet.
I
I
do
like that.
I do that a little bit. Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not answering your question because I'm struggling remembering the song.
You can sing it for us.
No, I'm not going to do that. But yes, I do that, and I really like what Whitney just said because sometimes it'll be a song from the 70s
Yeah.
that all of a sudden
Yeah.
I'm
I just made an 80s playlist that's fantastic to run to, but it's like, got really, yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
I don't make playlists at all.
Okay.
I use YouTube Music, and I only allow it to. It just creates its own playlist, kind of that kind of radio
Yeah.
situation. And so, I listen to whatever comes on next because it's always
Nothing on
background.
repeat.
I never put anything. Almost never put anything on intentionally. So, and I don't think I repeat anything. So, I remember in high school listening to what is this? The kisses of the sun were sweet. I didn't blink. I let it in my eyes. And I listened to that song probably for like days on. I don't know why I was so obsessed with that
There
song.
is something
It's
about a certain,
la 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 la.
yeah,
You don't know the song?
certain age range that I feel like you just lock in
All around the
and then
world.
listen to the same things
That's what
over
it
and
is.
over again. My daughter's in that. Do you have a song?
Firm Foundation.
Yeah.
And it
Okay.
goes back to the that last 4-month window when Brian was retiring.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we did it multiple times, and it
Yeah.
was a very tender
Yeah.
Mhm.
time in my life.
Mhm.
That's a song that I go right back to that
Mhm.
spring, to that winter.
He won't.
With when you're singing, does it match your mood? Like will you be singing no matter your mood, or like will she catch you? So Brian sings in the shower, And when he's super stressed, he doesn't sing in the shower. So I will like, what's going on? If it's like a couple days later, I'm like, you okay? We do like, why aren't you singing in the shower anymore?
Probably the lighter the mood, the more likely to be singing. That's a good word.
Yeah. Do you sing around the house?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
My kids are often annoyed at me because I sing a lot. And sometimes I sing it's not under my breath.
Well, and Jana and Tyler would say, and I rarely got the lyrics right.
Sure.
So that always made it interesting too. But they're kind towards me.
So, all right. Well, hey, this has been Cabin Conversations. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. I think it's the first of the week, so the first of the month. So we'll have
John,
Senior Pastor John Uten.
Okay.
So
let's do it.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.